Jahan Boulden graduated from Pitzer College in 2007 with a degree in sociology. Jahan currently serves as Associate Director of Community Development and Annual Giving at Pomona College. She is a past alumni board member and continues to be an active alumni volunteer and ambassador for Pitzer. Jahan is here today with a special greeting on behalf of the Alumni Association. Jahan.
So before I start, I just want to provide a brief content warning. There are mentions of violence in my speech. So if it makes anybody uncomfortable, if you need to step aside for a moment or check out or whatever it is to cope during those very brief moments, I just want to encourage you, if there are any triggers that come up, to reach out for help, because you're not alone. And I've been there, and I understand, and there are a number of resources available. So with that, I want to dive in. Hopefully I didn't scare everybody first. We've all encountered fear at different points in our lives, and will continue to do so. It's what we choose to do in those moments that make a difference. As author Zig Ziglar described fear, F-E-A-R, we can either forget everything and run, or we can face everything and rise. Through our hardest life experiences, so many of us have learned to treat fear as a warning. If you go over there, something bad might happen. So we choose to give in to our fears, just for the sake of protecting ourselves. If you think of fear as a ring around the edge of everything that you know, it's the layer that represents the unknown, everything outside of that world. Every time we succumb to our fear, trying to keep ourselves safe, we're actually confining ourselves to this limited space. We're shrinking ourselves and the scope of our lives. We shrink our dreams, our potential for growth, love, compassion, connection. We're imprisoning ourselves with this illusion that we can somehow avoid the world's greatest hardships. It's impossible to control everything about the world around us. Trust me, I've tried many times and failed. All of us, no matter how big or small we allow ourselves to be, will continue to encounter fears as we move forward. It's what we choose to do in those moments that determine whether we contract or whether we step out into the unknown and expand to reach our greatest potential. So as I share my story with you today, I want to invite you to reflect on some of your greatest fears. Not just what they are, but how they've influenced your life. What have they held you back from? What would your life be like if those fears were gone and you found yourself peacefully on the other side? Because when you have the courage to face your fears head on instead of giving in to them, you'll open your world in more ways than you could have ever imagined, and even the most impossible dreams can come true. I know this because since my own graduation, which was longer ago than I like to admit, I've faced some of the biggest fears this world had to offer and found myself more alive, more resilient, and filled with joy on the other side. In the summer before my senior year of college, I was still trying to figure out what I wanted to do when I grew up. Dancing was my biggest passion, but I didn't know if I was bold enough to really commit to it. I didn't realize that it could be taken away from me within a matter of seconds. On July 16th, 2006, I was out at night on vacation when I got shot in the leg with an assault rifle in a random attack that killed the man next to me. Even though I did my best to just suck it up and move on when I got back home, I spent the better part of my senior year confined to a wheelchair, wrestling with depression, anger, and constant fear. The shooting was so sudden, I didn't see or hear anything coming, so I didn't know when or where the next one could take place. During my commencement, when I was sitting in my cap and gown like you guys are today, I was excited that my friends and I had finally made it with the help of incredible professors, staff members, and the community at Pitzer. But I was also filled with fear. I didn't know what the world had in store for me. So in an effort to protect myself, I decided to pass up a dancing fellowship in Egypt to stay local and take on a more practical job. Even as I reached some of life's major milestones in the following years, like getting married, having children, and pursuing a good career, I continued to let fear drive every decision I made. On April 23rd, 2016, almost a decade after my shooting, I met a woman who turned all of that around at Pitzer College, of all places. Rhonda Foster, who's from the class of '82 and is a fellow survivor, was the first person who dared me to step out of my ever-shrinking safety bubble and share my story publicly for the first time. When I took those frightening steps onto the stage, shaking and crying, pouring my heart out to an audience of over 300 strangers, I felt a wave of relief wash over me. I did it. I allowed myself to do something that scared the hell out of me, and I survived. With a newfound resilience, I moved on to confront all of the fears that had haunted me throughout the years. And with every timid step I took, I grew stronger. When I used that same courage to start conquering the fears that had held me back from pursuing my dreams, the things that I loved the most, I found myself living a life far beyond anything I could have imagined even a couple years ago. I had been scared for my life in public places. Now nothing holds me back from going wherever I want and enjoying every moment of it, including this time being here with you. Thank you. For 10 years, I was scared to talk about my shooting with people I knew and loved. Now I share my story with strangers around the world every day. It's even been published in international publications like Cosmopolitan magazine and Women's Health magazines. I didn't feel worthy of being a leader to create the kind of change I wanted to see in this world. Now I'm the world's leading coach for survivors of gun violence. I travel the country as a motivational speaker, leading community resilience workshops, hosting online recovery programs, and spreading hope, something I lost sight of for so long. I walked with a cane for years. Now I can walk, run, and even dance again. When you decide to turn toward your fears instead of away from them, the realm of possibility for your life grows exponentially. Every time I'm ready to take the next leap toward my dreams, I make a list of everything I want to accomplish. I point to the one that scares me the most, and I dive in. Sometimes it ends up being so much easier than I expected, and sometimes it's excruciating. But no matter how it feels when I first start, it's always more peaceful, more joyful, and just freaking awesome on the other side. So don't wait a decade letting fear and shame drag you through the best parts of life like I did. Face everything and rise. Be bold. Reach out for help when you need it. Face your fears head on, and your wildest dreams will not only become possible, they'll become inevitable. The best part of joining this lifelong community that is the Pitzer College Alumni Association, besides those really cool license plate frames, is that you have access to incredible resources all around the world. You've got this, class of 2019, and we've got you. We can't wait to see every single one of you rise. Thank you.